vine pots, the cloud rollers drive the animals out of their kennels, and storms in horseshoes rise up from old stones, quite as a mouse, trotting through the branches and fish bones of trees.
I began researching Arp's work a little over a year ago, and what struck me on reading his poetry was this overwhelming sense of love that he felt for the artist-dancer Sophie Teuber. And on reading that after she passed away prematurely, he felt that when she was alive they'd lived in a dream, and after she died, as he felt he could still see her, that they lived in reality. This became the driving force for Amphora. Through working on Amphora, I've been able to collaborate with the dancer Carmela Devane, because I wanted Carmela to portray both dream and real Sophie, and because of her training in Indian dance and her ability to portray more than one character in one body, I knew that that would work perfectly because she had that experience.
When Helen and I started talking about a collaboration, she brought Jean Arp and Sophie Teuber Arp into my consciousness for the very first time. And I'd heard about Dadaism, but I hadn't really studied much of it. Looking into their processes, it was all about chance and improvisation.
I've used chance processes and the motion of nature to inform my work, and echoed the use of shape and form in art sculptures in the way that I've used melody, rhythm, form and tempo.
In quite a few of the pieces that Helen scored, I went into the studio and started to research Sophie's approach to her choreography, which was very much a hybrid form. So I put down ideas of different ways that she might have approached her choreography, frenetic dancing as opposed to very gliding, graceful dancing. Put it all down on paper, ripped it up and tossed it into the air, and the way that it fell onto the earth, very much like Jean Arp's work, is the way that I choreographed, by chance.
Aside from working with Carmela, I've also been able to work with Martina Trottmann, a Swiss couturier and textile artist who's created these angular shapes and echoed Arp's work and sculptures in the costume that she's created.
I started the design process based really on the sculptures and some of the poems, and then the practicalities of dance costume is very much different to other costumes because the body moves, it's not static. For me it's like making a sculpture around and with a body. It's a mix between woolen fabrics and silk fabrics, so I was interested as well to work with different weights of fabrics and what that does once sculpted around the body. And fabrics have a big influence on how the costume moves in the space and what shapes it can create.
You moved aside your intransigent spheres. To pick a flower, you reverberated with a world of light. I took the very last line, a star takes shape according to your pattern, to be the very, very first bit that the soprano whispers at the start of Pulsar. But she whispers it in both French and German to reflect the fact that Jean Arp was born in Strasbourg and had this dual identity between both France and Germany.
Une étoile se forme selon ton dessin.
And looking at the poem and looking at Torso made me think of this particular melody. Laughing animals foam out of iron pots, the cloud rollers drive the animals out of their kernels, and stones in horseshoes rise up from old stones. It's a very, very Dadaesque poem, and I just had this feeling that it really should have 5 beats in the bar. So for the melody, for this one, I've got laughing animals form out of iron pots, the cloud rollers drive the animals out of their kernels.
Stones in horseshoes rise up from old stones, stones white as a mouse, trotting through the branches and fish bones of trees.
Arp and Teuber collaborated on a number of works together. After her death, Arp tore up and reassembled some of their work so that he could once again create with her. Through Amphora, I wish to continue this collaboration.
Art is a fruit that grows in a man, like a fruit on a plant, or a child in its mother's womb. Art is a fruit that grows in man, like a fruit on a plant, or a child in its mother's womb. Art is a fruit that grows